Suddenly, we were confronted with something that really had the opportunity to run a long time. I mean, a long time, because people 20 years from now ought to be able to see what The Lion King is as much as people this weekend ought to be able to see it.
20
yeah,
years.
20 years. I mean, that's that's a reasonable goal. I mean, that's a reasonable goal. So we thought, listen, in order for that to happen, in order to maximize the longevity of this product, how are we going to do it? Here's what you guys may not understand, or here's what you may not have thought of, and that is that the evolution of an audience has to happen in a certain sequence, and that if you go out of sequence, you can't go back and pick up the first audience. And you can't go for the family tourist audience right off the bat, because if you do that, you can never go back and get the avid theater goers who will add years of life to the show. You can't go back and get them if you've missed them the first time around. So what you have to do is forget that you're Disney for a while. My little mantra became every decision that I would pitch to these guys, I would think, it's not Disney presents The Lion King, it's the Royal Shakespeare Company presents The Lion King. If it were that, what would we be doing? How would we be presenting ourselves, and to whom would we be presenting ourselves, and in what form would we be presenting ourselves? What would we tell them? What would we not tell them? What would we show? What would we never show? And that became sort of our strategy that we pitched to these guys, and keep the long run in mind. And everything was done in terms of the long run here, and so that it was playing the cards very close to the table, not to be obnoxious about it, but to be theatrical about it. This is a piece of theater that exists in the theater, on the stage, and in the environment of the theater. And it is an intense enough experience to maintain the integrity of that.
Well, I think, the history of the technology of Broadway, i.e. the computer, the phone systems, the ability to use credit cards, have fundamentally changed the way Broadway has sold tickets. And that's a recent phenomenon. It used to be you could only put 12 weeks of tickets on sale.
Because you could only rack them.
Because you only could rack 12 weeks of tickets at a time, and you'd do that and it'd be all mail order. Now it's all about telephones and credit cards and computers. And as we get more sophisticated online, one of the other big strategies we had was online, buying tickets online. We sold so many tickets online that the idea of the longevity of shows really takes advantage of new marketing opportunities.
Lion King is actually breaking new ground aside from what's happening inside the theater, because, as Chris said, this is the demand here is extraordinary enough so that things are being done that have never been done before. So we're really actually striking out into virgin territory here. We're not quite sure if we're doing the right thing, but we're trying lots of things to see, and a lot of shows that have yet to be done are going to benefit from what the Lion King experience is here. Shows that are fortunate to be successful in this way. We can't accommodate more demand than this much. What do? Well, we decided we would try to open twice as many windows at the box office. We decided we would bring a van of telephone operators outside the theater to accommodate the overflow. We would amuse and entertain and give bonuses to people who would be willing to wait online for hours and hours and hours. And to answer your question, we took an ad that for the first time listed the locations of Ticketmaster outlets. It's a simple thing, but it had never been done because everyone just figured, well, Ticketmaster outlets, it's just a couple of dollars a day, why bother? We took a big ad that actually listed all the Ticketmaster locations for the outlets in the New York City greater metropolitan area. So knowing that the box office could not accommodate more than a certain number of people during their hours, we wanted to be able to accommodate many more people than that. So we actually drove business in other directions very, very simply. This was not a big schmaltzy ad in color or anything. We just said, in order to make your ticket purchase as easy as possible, assuming that people are already interested in buying, that we didn't need to do any selling, we just needed to actually make them available. You might want to save some time by going to the drugstore on the corner and buy your tickets there, as opposed to coming to 42nd Street, waiting online for 8 hours, and then perhaps being disappointed.